The research was conducted basically to give politicians and institutions that matter an understanding of what the voters of this country want to be addressed during elections by parliamentarians and by presidential candidates. And therefore, that was the crux of the issues why we chose to carry out this research.
Yes, the research is just one of the flagship programs that the National Commission for Civic Education undertakes every election year. In the past, we have had too many political talks that are not even possible. People promising to bring the sea from Accra to Tamale. Now this research is giving the politician also the opportunity to know the expectations of the electorate. And so once the issues come out, the politicians have no choice but to respond to the expectations of the electorate.
For the NCC itself, it is important because it is a way of trying to collect information, and it will help us in our public education, talking about issues that are of concern to the population as a whole, and also drawing attention to various concerns. So it is both ways to get information to the politicians, and then also for NCC to help us facilitate our work.
Well, the significant difference for this one is that we have a wider group of respondents now. The previous research we undertook had a little over 3,000 respondents, but for this particular research we reached almost 8,000 respondents, which was a milestone for the institution in ensuring that the reflections of a wider group of respondents was reflected in the survey that we undertook. Another critical or significant difference was that this time the perception of the Electoral Commission was also addressed in the survey. So this time round you would have questions that chose to assess what the public, how the public sees the Electoral Commission. It will go a long way to benefit the electorate because this time you're giving voice to the electorate. They are able through this research to tell the politicians that these are the issues that we want you to address, and therefore politicians would have to more or less focus on the issues that they've raised as their concerns rather than matters that they may choose to focus on. So it brings an engagement between the electorate and those who seek to be elected, in ensuring that those who seek to be elected look at the issues of the electorate in order to seek their mandate or their vote for the coming elections.
So one major achievement that this flagship program has chalked over the years is to move the use of intemperate language in campaigns to issue-based campaign. And so the kind of acrimonious campaigning transforms into issue-based campaign. So in 2012, for instance, after the launch of the findings of the report of the research, all the key parties, their candidates began to campaign on at least the topmost issue that came up.
Well, like every other research, we started off with trying to do some development of the questionnaire. So we developed the questionnaire, having had some sponsorship from European Union and UNDP. We developed the questionnaire, and the questionnaire went through pre-testing. So we went to the field and did some pre-testing, certain about the questionnaire that we have developed, the draft one. We went out now to do training for the officers. So training took place in Kumasi at the Public Services Workers Union Center over a period of 4 days, one a day for each group. We have 4 groups, and each group was taken through 1 day of training. And during that training, we took them through the methodology. We conducted a mock administration questionnaire where they tried to administer the questionnaire on each other using the predominant language in the various constituencies or various areas. Thereafter, they went to the field.
This time, we are not using paper. We are using the phones, the mobile phones. We are using mobile phones to collect our data. We call it in our parlance, the research parlance, PDAs. Personal digital assistants, but they are just nothing but the mobile phones that we use. But then here we use Android phones.
This time we try to move away from the paper kind of questionnaire administration to electronic. So in this case we adopted the ODK, the Open Data Kit. ODK is a set of tools that helps organization to design and manage data that's being collected on the field. So what does that is that it enables you to collect the data from the field using an Android devices, which you have a server and a mobile phone to collect the data from it. So what we did was that each and every RA meaning the research assistant was given a mobile phone to collect the data for us. So what they do is to download the questionnaires on their phone, go onto the field, and when they are done with the data collection, they push the data back to the server. The server here is located in the head office here. So as the data comes around, we in the department are able to see the responses that comes in real time. One thing about this software was that we were able to trace each and every response that comes into the head office or onto the server. And another thing was that we were able to locate and track each respondent wherever they are because it had GPS feature on it, which helps us to monitor every research assistant on the field. We then exported the data to SPSS. That is where we do the thorough analysis for our research.
You know, this study, the data was collected during the raining season. We collected it in June, and you all agree with us that June in the rainy season, certainly, that was a major challenge. They were collecting data in the rains. We went out to monitor and were also in the rains.
Religious factors that set in during the conduction of the research. At the data collection point, the Islamic fasting period, which coincided with our data collection, it was difficult to get a lot of the people to respond to it because some of them had either left home for prayers and you had to wait for them to come back, or they were there but due to religious reasons they would not like to involve in the research. Another factor that we encountered was with regards to the farming season, where you get to a home, all of them are going to the farm. Who then do you interview? You have to go, come back at a later time, and it delayed the process.
Once we have the issues and people are talking to the issues, Then this, issue of vitriolic attacks on personalities, manslinging, saying all manner of things about people will be reduced. It will not go completely, but it will be reduced. So certainly, it was very beneficial. Yes.
One other interesting outcome is also about the knowledge of the electorate about the workings of these organizations. We have parliament, we have district chief executives, the organs of government or the branches of government, departments, what their roles are. For instance, you go into the specifics in education and you find the voter expecting the MP to facilitate the process of assessing scholarships, for instance. So for them, it is the work of the MP to get them scholarships. But if you look at the mandate of the MP is not responsible for that. So for us, the research is able to take us further, to tell us how we should plan our program, how we should prioritize the areas to be addressed in our community engagements. So for instance, this one, we know that the electorates are not well informed about the rules of the various institutions of states.